Welcome. In this video I'm going to be looking at the differences between these two Amcrest cameras. So I have a 4 megapixel and a 5 megapixel camera. And this one I purchased myself, and this one was given to me by Amcrest, but this is not a sponsored video. They just gave it to me and I can make whatever videos I want with it. They didn't tell me what to say. So these are all my words. I'll put a link in the description of these on Amazon, and if you find this video helpful and you use that link, it helps me out a little bit and doesn't cost you anything extra. So this is the 5 megapixel camera, and they both look exactly like this on the outside, so there's no real physical difference. And these two cameras seem like cousins to each other. They're nearly identical. So the differences you're going to find here is the 4 megapixel is 4. I'll put a link in the description to the model numbers on here. But yeah, the 4 megapixel is 4, the 5 megapixel is 5 megapixel, obviously. So here's one difference is that the 4 megapixel is 118 degrees and the 5 megapixel is 104 degrees. So this one adds 14 more degrees of width to it. And they both have night vision, motion detection, mobile viewing. So all the rest of this is the same. And this all looks the same. On the back, I found a funny thing here is it has a little picture showing the difference between 4 megapixel and 1080p. Same one's on the 5 megapixel. It uses the same picture, which, technically that's not correct, but I know it's just marketing. It doesn't bother me. So if we look at the specs on the sides here, we'll see that the 4 megapixel is 2688 by 1520 HD at 30 frames per second. So that's approximately 16:9 ratio. So it'd be approximately the same ratio as an HD TV. And then this one is 2592 by 1944 at 20 FPS, and that is 4:3 ratio. So that's the same ratio as like an old school CRT. So it's a little bit more of a square image. And then it also lists on here, there's 3 megapixel mode, and that's 2304 by 1296 at 30 FPS. So if you want 30 FPS out of this camera, you can go down to 3 megapixel. And both of these cameras do have multiple video modes you can downscale to. So you can downscale this one to 1080p, you can downscale this to 1080p if you want, but these are the maximum. So, and then we have that depth of view, and they both have night vision. This one says 18 infrared LEDs with maximum range of 98 feet, and this one says up to 98 feet with 18 infrared LED arrays. This one calls it Smart IR night vision, this one just calls it night vision, but I'm pretty sure it's the same thing. So, and they're both waterproof. So now we'll switch over to my computer where I've mounted this computer in the same location, one right after the other, and I took a screen grab, and we'll see the difference in this width of image. Okay, so I have a screen grab from both cameras. So what I have here is the 4 megapixel, and in this other tab I have the 5 megapixel. And if we look at these two images, you can see on the 4 megapixel, you can see the edge of this garden here, you can see the fence and the neighbor's shed. If we go over here to the 5 megapixel, you can see the edge of the garden but no shed. And then on the right side, this is a hexagonal table. You can kind of see this line here. We'll go to the 5 megapixel. It kind of cuts off a little bit. Now on the 4 megapixel, you can see it stops about the top of the garden here. And let's see, what's the difference here? So it goes up quite a bit higher on the 5 megapixel, and you can kind of see it dips down a little bit lower here. So, you can see where it's getting its pixels is out of the height and not the width. So now I'll mess with the zoom here. I'll click on my zoom, and I have this zoomed in at 45%. So I will double click this, and that should take it to 100, okay? And then we'll go here to the 4 megapixel, and this was at 47%. I'll double click it, and now it's at 100. And I'll drag over here so we can look at like the bird feeder. So you can look here, the bird feeder looks slightly more blurred than the 5 megapixel. You can see a little bit more definition of like the shingles on it. And this one, it's a little bit more blurry. I'm not sure if there's anything else we can look at. You can see like the little squirrel guard here is a little bit sharper in this one too. You can see the lines on the suet feeder a little bit better on the 5 megapixel. So the 5 megapixel has a little bit higher definition on different items. Let's look at this flower pot over here. It's just slightly sharper. But I would say it's more or less comparable. I mean, it's not, I think if you're looking between these two cameras and you want to decide which one to get, I would get the 4 megapixel if you want that wider image, and get the 5 megapixel if you want the taller one. That would be my recommendation. But if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. If you like this video, please click like. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I'd appreciate it if you could do that. And thanks for watching. Until next time, goodbye.